Hello students, today we are going to start with unit 1.5, that is Mrs. Addis by Shaila K. Smith. Now here student, the main protagonist of the story is Mrs. Addis. The story is about her son Tom, his friend Peter Crouch and the other minor characters. Let's start with icebreakers first. Now here, share your opinions and feelings with your partner about a stranger who has a villainous look or appearance. Now, how do you feel when you see someone or see a person with a villainous look or appearance? What are your feelings? At first, you will feel you feel very frightened, or you are suspicious that the person can do something wrong to you, or the person can harm you. Then you can say you feel that sometimes you might feel that okay, we have that much sense that appearances are deceptive. So it might be that if the person, though he is having a villainous look, he might be a kind person. So there are some you can say various feelings that might come into our mind. Like as I told you, you can be frightened, you can feel suspicious about the person, you can feel that you must not judge the person according or about like his behavior and all. You should feel, you should speak and know whether that person is good or not. So there are different feelings that might come to your mind. After that, recall your favorite crime story on TV. Discuss with your friend how you could prevent the villain or thief from committing the crime or theft. Now you all watch many, you can say, crime stories on television and all. So you only have to decide. Now we are not in the classroom, so you only have to decide here that which story you will take up, and then you have to try to give a ending where you want to prevent the thief or villain to stop him or her from doing something wrong here or committing the crime. You on yourself have to do this. After that, the feelings of a person when he commits a mistake are, what does a person feel when he commits a mistake? They have given one answer, he tries to justify it. Then the other thing you can say, the person tries to blame others. Sometimes it happens, if we also, if we do something wrong and we don't want people to know that we have done it, we try to blame others. Then you can say we try to pretend that it is not we who has done, the other person has done it. Or sometimes it might be that we feel ashamed, we try to confess. So there are various ways the person reacts when the person has done something wrong. Then the person who makes a mistake or commits a crime should be punished. Because why you think the person should be punished? The main reason we can say that he should because he should not repeat the same thing again. Once he is punished for that mistake or for that crime, he will not make that mistake again. Or you can say he might learn from that mistake, or he can be he can be an example for the people to not do the same thing again. Or you can say it can also be for to maintain law and order, that once the person is punished for that particular crime, so other keeps in mind that he was punished for that thing, so we should not do it. So this was the icebreaker for the story Mrs. Addis. Now we'll know about the author here, Shaila K. Smith. Now she was an English novelist and poet. Many of her novels were set in broad borderlands of Sussex and Kent in English regional tradition. Sussex, you can say, is a village here. Her book, The End of House of Allard, became a bestseller. Now here this story, Mrs. Addis, is about a peasant woman. Mrs. Addis is a peasant woman who finds a desperate young man at her doorstep. One day, one night here, one evening time here, suddenly one person comes to her doorstep. Here that person, as I told you, the story is about Mrs. Addis, her son Tom, and Tom's friend Peter Crouch. So suddenly one day one happened, Peter Crouch comes at her doorstep, pleading of her to give him protection from the police. Now this person, Peter Crouch, Tom's friend, has done something wrong, and so for that reason he has come to Mrs. Addis and he is pleading, he is requesting her to give him protection from the police. Police is looking after him, so he wants to hide in Mrs. Addis' house. and for that reason he is requesting Mrs. Addis to give him place in her house to hide here. He had been poaching on the nearby estate. Now, why is he hiding? What he has done wrong? So here we come to know that he has gone for hunting in the you can say jungle here, in the nearby estate means in the jungle here, and in panic means something went wrong. We will come to know when we go through the story. Something went wrong and he had killed one of the game keepers of the forest here. There are some people who were there to look after the forest here, and in the sudden one incident had taken place, and in that incident you can say unintentionally Peter Crouch has killed one person. He has shot one person, and now other people are looking, the police is looking after him, so he just want to hide himself, and for that reason he has come to Mrs. Addis' house. Now we'll see the entire story here. What is the actual story we'll come to know here. See here, Mrs. Addis in northeast Sussex. As I told you, Sussex is a county in the south of England. County here you can say it is an administrative district here. A great tongue of land. Tongue of land you can say a long stretch of land branching out from the main road. This place is a long stretch of land which is branched out from the main road. Means it is like an outskirt area. Runs into Kent here. Runs into Kent means what? It just gets into Kent here. Kent is here you can say a house. It is a land of woods means here nearby this house this place is land of woods means what? It is a jungle area here, thick forest area. And the old hammer woods of Sussex is iron industry, and among the woods gleam the hammer ponds. Now they are saying in this Sussex, in this county here in England, here you will find old hammer woods. Hammer woods is what? It is a forest. Wood, as from the word itself we come to know that it is a forest. It is described as hammer because in the past iron used to be made using timber and water. At that time what they used to do, they used to cut the timber, they used to cut the wood and they add water and make charcoal of it. So that's why the name was given hammer woods, and they are saying, and it was mainly used in the iron industry here. And among the woods gleam the hammer ponds. Hammer ponds you can say they are the artificial ponds here. So in the forest you can, gleaming means shining. Suddenly at the night time you will find the water shining here in the pond here. So here that's why you can say they have named it hammer ponds. The water is used here to make the charcoal. See, they have written here timber and water. So they both use this timber means wood and water is used to make charcoal here. So that's why they have given name hammer ponds and hammer wood. Owing to the thickness of the woods, the road that passes Mrs. Addis' cottage is dark long before the fields beyond. Means they are saying the woods means it is very thick forest. There are many trees there in the area around the house of Mrs. Addis. So the road that passes Mrs. Addis' cottage is dark. That's why night time it is dark. There is no you can say place for the light to passing long before the fields beyond. The night there was no twilight, no moon. Means it was a dark night. Only a few pricks of fire in the black sky above the trees. Pricks of fire means what? The stars here. It was a very dark night and only few stars you can see in the sky here. That too black sky it is mentioned here. But was what the darkness hid, the silence revealed. Means they are saying though it was very dark night, but still in that dark night also there was complete silence, and even if you can say a needle would have dropped on the earth there, on the field there, anyone can hear the noise. It was such pin drop silence were there in that place. In the absolute stillness of the night, windless and clear, every sound was distinct, intensified. Means as I told you, even if the pin would have dropped there down on the ground or on the earth there, anyone could easily come to know that the pin has fallen. So it was such still, or you can say there was complete silence there all around, no wind blowing, nothing, everything was clear, anything could be heard very clearly. The distant bark of a dog at a Delmonden Delmonden is a name of a village. In that village, there the dogs were barking, and still, as there was complete silence here, it could be here near Mrs. Addie's house. Sounded close at hand. Close at hand means what? Very near. Means though this Delmonden, this village was at a distance from Mrs. Addie's house, still the dogs who were barking there in that village could be here in near Mrs. Addie's house. Such silence was there at that time, at night time. And the man who walked on the road could hear the echo of his own footsteps following him like a nail. Means here they are saying here that the man, whoever who would walk at that night, that time a man was walking on the road, he could clearly hear his footsteps, the echo of his footsteps because of that still night, that silent night, like a nail. Now, every now and then, he made an effort to go more quietly, but the roadside was a mass of thorns. Means now this man was taking lot of efforts to go very quietly. He didn't want anyone to know that he was there at that place at that time. But still, there were on that road, there were mass of thorns, and because of that, their crackling and rustling were nearly as loud as the thud of his feet on the road. Means there were mass of thorns. There were small, you can say small trees there of roses and all which had thorns on it. So with this man, when he was passing by, the thorns were making crackling and rustling sound, and it could be very clearly heard that someone is coming from that place. So it was like as if his feet were making the sound on the road. In the same way as he was passing, these thorns crackling and rustling sound made he felt that everyone will come to know that he was passing by. Besides, they made him go slowly, and he had no time for that. As there were thorns there, he had to be very careful while moving from that place. But as this from the story we come to know that he was hiding from the police here, so he had no time for that. He really wanted to go very fast from there and hide at one safe place. Now, when he came to Mrs. Addie's cottage, he paused a moment. Only a small patch of grass lay between it and the road. Means as he was going to Mrs. Addie's cottage here, he stood there for a moment, and he realized that only a small patch of grass is there between Mrs. Addie's cottage and the road here. For him, he had to just pass that and go to Mrs. Addie's cottage. He looked it at the lighted, uncurtained window, and suddenly when he looked at Mrs. Addie's cottage, he found that one window was uncurtained, and from there he could see the light from that window. He could see Mrs. Addie stooping over, means bending over the fire. Means from that lighted window he could see Mrs. Addie is in the cottage and she was bending over the fire, taking some pot or kettle of it. She was trying to take off the kettle from the fire there. Of the fire. He hesitated and seemed to wonder. He was a very big, heavy working man, not successful judging by poverty of his appearance. Means he was wondering what he should do, how he should get in the house, whether it will be right or no. Then for a moment he made it as if he would open the window. Then he changed his mind and went to the door instead. Means for a moment he said that without Mrs. Addis knowing, he should just get into the cottage from the window itself, from the window which was open. And then he changed his mind and he felt that no, I will go from the door only. Then see what he did. He did not knock, but he walked straight in. He did not knock the door. He just opened the door and he went in. The woman at the fire, means Mrs. Addis, she turned quickly round. What, you Peter Crouch? She said. I didn't hear your knock. Means she is just saying you Peter Crouch. Means she knows Peter Crouch. Mrs. Addis, she knew Peter Crouch because he was her son's birthday. You can say best friend here, Tom's friend here. So she knew him very well. So she's saying, I didn't hear you knock. You didn't knock and came inside. You just entered like that. I didn't knock, ma'am. I didn't want anybody to hear. So what Peter Crouch is replying? He's saying, no, ma'am, I didn't want anyone to hear that I am at your door here. I've come to your place. So that's why I didn't knock the door. I just entered here. How's that? Means she's saying, why you did like that? So he's saying, I'm in trouble. His hands were shaking a little. What have you done? She is asking. See, he's saying, why you did like that? Why you don't want anyone to know that you have come to my house? So he replies, he's saying that I am in trouble. And while he was speaking to Mrs. Addis, his hands were shaking a little. Shaking here means what? As he's, you can say, scared of someone, that they might come and the police might come and take him away. For that reason, he's scared now, he's frightened. That's why his hands are shaking. So she's asking, Mrs. Addy is asking him, what have you done? So see what is his reply. I shot a man, Mrs. Addy. See, very truthfully he is saying here that I have shot a man. Means he has killed a man. You? So she's surprised. Yes, I shot him. You killed him? I don't know. He's saying, yes, I shot him. Then again she is asking to confirm that you have killed someone. So he's saying, I don't know. So there, for a moment, there was silence in the small, stuffy kitchen. Means they were in the conversation is going on in the kitchen here. So there was silence at that time. Then the kettle boiled over and Mrs. Addis mechanically put it at the side of the fire. Means while she was having conversation with Peter Crouch, the kettle was boiling over there on the fire, and so she just took off the kettle of the fire. She was a small, thin woman with a brown, hard face on which the skin had dried in innumerable small hair-like wrinkles. Means here the description of Mrs. Addis is given here, that she was a small, thin woman with brown, hard face. Means now, as we all know, peasants, they have to work in the farm very, you can say they have to work a lot on the farm. A lot of hard work is required to work in the farm. Throughout the day they work under the sun, so because of that their skin becomes very hard, brown. So same way as she is a peasant woman, so same thing, same condition is with her. She is not very rich woman from a well-to-do family and all. So that's why the description tells us that she is small, thin woman with a brown, hard face on which the skin has dried in innumerable small hair-like wrinkles and all. See here in this column they have asked you to describe how has the author described Mrs. Addis. So see here you have to write small woman, then you will write with brown hard face, then skin has dried in innumerable small hair like wrinkles. All this description you have to give here. She was probably not more than 42, means her age description is also given, that though she has got lot of wrinkles on her face and it is very, you can become very dark and brown and all. So, but still they are saying her age was not more than 42. But life treats some women hard in their agricultural districts of Sussex. Means, as I told you, she was a peasant woman here. So because of that, working throughout the day in the farm has made her appearance like that. And Mrs. Addis' life had been harder than most. Means she did not belong to a well-to family. She was from a normal, you can say, middle class family who had to work for their living. What do you want me to do for you, Peter Crouch? She said a little slowly. Now, Miss Solely means what? She was angry that he has done something wrong. So she is asking here, now you have killed someone, you have shot someone. So now what you want me to do for you? Let me stay here a bit. Is there nowhere you can put me till they've gone? He is requesting, he is pleading to Mrs. Addis. Peter Crouch is pleading to Mrs. Addis. He is saying, please let me stay here for a while till the police goes away. They are behind me. They want to take me away from this place because I have shot someone. So please allow me to be in your place. Hide me somewhere in your house there, so that once they are gone, I will also go away. Who's they? Means she's asking who is behind you. So he's replying the keepers, means the police. You can say the keepers here. You can say the police or the guards there of the forest there. Oh, you had a quarrel with the keepers, have you? Then she's saying you had a quarrel with the keepers of the forest, have you? She's asking him. Yes, I was down by the cinder wood seeing if I could pick up anything, and the keepers found me. There were 4 to 1, so I used my gun. See what he's saying here? See, Cinderwood is the name of the wood, a place in the forest here. There are a lot of trees here. So this man, Peter Crouch, has gone there for hunting here. So he's saying, I had gone there for hunting, and what happened? Suddenly the keepers of the forest, they found me, and these people were four, and I was alone there. They were chasing me. So to just save my life, I had to use my gun, and in that what happened? In unintentionally, I had shot one person. Then I ran for it. They are after me, and saying, once I shot that person, I ran from that place so that they could not catch me. And because of that, what happened? They are after me and they can't be far off now. Means they are chasing me, so they cannot be far off. They will be nearby only. So please hide me somewhere in your house. He is pleading to Mrs. Addis. Mrs. Addis did not speak for a moment. Crouch looked at her beseechingly. Means she didn't understand what to do, whether she should help this man or whether she should not. Because one thing here, she had, you can say, she was very confused. Firstly, as this man Peter Crouch was her son's good friend, means though he was a bad man, his son Tom, he really liked him as a friend. So she felt that she should help him because he is Tom's friend. And on the other hand, this man Peter Crouch has killed someone. He has shot someone. He has done something wrong. So there was, you can say, Mrs. Addis was confused what she should do, whether she should help Peter Crouch or she should not. So here you can say she did not understand what to do. So she did not speak for a moment, and Crouch, he was looking at her beseechingly, means appealingly, where he was pleading her that please allow me to hide in your house here. For today, I'll stop here. In my next lecture, we'll continue with the same story. Thank you.